Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to your home for Deadlock News, Deadlock Weekly. We've got the first inklings of what we may see in Deadlock's next major update. We're going to take a look at some pro matches, hero win rates, and obviously we'll finish off reading your comments. If you want to stay in the loop, be sure to subscribe. But to jump right into it, a Brazilian streamer named, I am so sorry, he's Hagizao? Hagizao, I'm doing my best, who has at least some connection to people in the private playtest, has said that there's a new objective titled Vanguard incoming. We've seen this, there's a few lines of code about Vanguard in the game before. People had speculated that maybe it was actually a new game mode, but it looks like it may be a King of the Hill style objective where the capture time is going to decrease with more players on the objective, and that it's going to give stat buffs as opposed to souls. He also said that the update will be released around Halloween and that Venator is also going to be in that update. That's what the plan is. There are already some voice lines associated with both Venator and Vanguard in the game already, so we know Vanguard's been at least far enough along in development to warrant the patron VA getting in the booth, and Venator we know was almost in the most recent update, but got some changes to his kit last minute, which resulted in him being delayed until it sounds like the Halloween update, which, by the way, Venator is Priest. Formerly known as Priest anyways. But again, guys, it's worth knowing, pump the brakes on this stuff a little bit, because ultimately these are just rumors, and we know, again, through the voice lines that Vanguard is in development in some form, right? But I've already seen the big Twitter accounts go running saying, it's been confirmed, a new objective is releasing this Halloween, the Vanguard will be a King of the Hill objective, rewarding blah 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 blah, and it's important to remember that we've seen it here happen time and time again already, that these leaks and things, they can change. But that doesn't mean it's now worth getting excited about, I think. So super duper cool to see what may be coming this Halloween. And then we just talked about the first leaks about the next big patch, but I do think we're officially on balance patch watch as well. If not this week, I would definitely expect to see a new balance patch next week. The meta has been defined for this patch, and its outliers are apparent. I still hold my stance that I don't think Mina's actually broken, but I did play a game with her where I just nuked objectives the entire time, so I would expect a nerf to that in some regard. I'm sorry again, Hagi Zhao also said that in his clip that Mina is one of the heroes on the nerf list upcoming, but Cultist, Sacrifice, and Veilwalker are also getting nerfed, I'm certain. Cultist has become just a frequent buy on maybe not heroes that shouldn't be buying it, but I've seen it start popping up in Lash builds, and I'm kind of like, okay, maybe we're pushing it a little bit with this item. And it's starting to get really annoying when I show up to a triple camp and there's just two there looking at me. And Veilwalker, you're actually going to see on this gameplay how obscene it can be, but I do really like that it's become an alternative to Fortitude, so I hope that Valve finds a way to keep that identity and purpose alive while maybe toning it down a little bit, because it's a little obscene. And I also think Mo and Krill may finally be on the nerfing board. I am just fucking sick of this guy. These guys. These animals. Whatever the fuck you are, fuck both of you. And as we take a look at our Steam charts, the player count has actually generally stabilized this week. We've been kind of doing a steady decline since the hero update came out. We went down a bit, but much less in the past weeks, which is even better than the large boom last year. I honestly started to expect it to fall off like it did last year, as people found just whatever game they wanted to move on to, since there isn't really a whole lot of player retention tools in Deadlock. But honestly, I think it's just a testament of how much better this game is than the one that we were playing last year. This is probably where the week-to-week coverage of our player count is going to wrap up for now, unless you guys do want me to mention it every week or it becomes rather newsworthy again, but it seems like we're starting to stabilize a little bit. And guys, as we dive into our Winrates Weekly, another hero that you can probably expect to get nerfed sooner rather than later is Ivy. She has been terrorizing the top of this win rate chart the past few weeks, and her gun build is becoming maybe not more and more powerful, but more and more people are playing it and getting good with it. Apparently, my entire neighborhood's on lockdown. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys whatever this is going on. My roommate just texted me this. I'm gonna make sure I'm not in danger. My roommate texts me, says our entire neighborhood's on lockdown and asks if I know what's going on, and I go up and there's a parade. Not quite lockdown, but where were we? Yes, Ivy becoming more and more powerful as people become more and more competent on the character. And Mo and Krill, who we talked about earlier, has also seen their win rate increasing and now just south of 52%. I think that may be the high watermark for them. And so I think they are getting nerfed as well. And Vindicta, I think, is probably going to wind up seeing some gun buffs sooner rather than later. The devs nerfed her stake build because of how prominent it was, and I have to imagine out of touch with their vision for the character. They want her to be this sniper long-range shooter. But that's left her with a pretty bad stat spread, especially with how rampant Talon is again. It feels like either Talon is bad or Talon is one of the best heroes in the game, and Vindicta gets no love because at Talon's best, he's stronger than Vindicta really can ever hope to be. But then also, how about Viper? 7.8% pick rate. That's the lowest in the game by far, and I think probably the lowest I've ever seen for any hero. Then, guys, we clock in for the night shift in our tournament roundup this week. In Europe, Abrahams gets 2-0'd. Half of Abrahams just left for the second game once they realized the match was over. They were just getting absolutely rolled. It's clear they do not like losing to the buff enjoyers, and vice versa, to be fair. The buff enjoyers have certainly not shown to be certainly kind to Abrahams either. And it's only making this a more entertaining matchup that is becoming almost a weekly occurrence. But yeah, Zergy didn't die a single time on Wednesday night. That should tell you everything you need to know about how it went for Abrahams. They got trounced. And then in North America, it has been proven Hydra Nation is no longer the best team. They lose in their finals for a third week in a row, and at least they didn't get 2-0'd this time, and it was actually pretty close outside of map 1. But I've seen a lot of people say Hydra Nation doesn't know how to play from behind because they're often so far ahead. And I do tend to agree. They've also gotten punished, though, repeatedly by Sneaky Golems and now Baroness Hotel for poor positioning or trying to make big individual plays. That's ultimately why they lost the last game. Even though it's a pickup team, Baroness Hotel is clearly a much more functional team. It's also worth noting that Hydra Nation cut Lord NM after their loss last week, and roster changes have kind of been their answer to losing for as long as I can remember, and I've been paying attention to their roster. Then, guys, let's talk some Deadlock. Our first comment this week comes from Fluskar, who said, it's actually our top-rated comment last week as well. He said, the fact it's been a couple of weeks since the major update, but we still have around 40,000 average players is nuts. And I think this is a testament of the actual great game Deadlock is. The characters, the gameplay loop, the movement. It's also engaging, crisp, and polished. There's almost no retention tools, but we're all still here playing it. When you think of a playtest game, you think glitches, crashing, and honestly, that almost never happens with this game. It doesn't feel like the early access builds that you see on Steam. This doesn't feel like a playtest, which is why we have things like Deadlock Night Shift, this video, or 40,000 people just playing the playtest. We all love this game and see where it's going, and we want to ride that train together. I really do think that Deadlock is just something special simmering in the pot, and we're here stirring it. Then our next comment comes from Doomsy TTV, who said, 90% of my games have a 30-kill Smurf in it. 10% of my games feel normal. And now I'll be ripping all that lovey-dovey stuff away by talking about matchmaking. I played 15 games of Deadlock yesterday, which is by far the most I've played in a single day in months, maybe 6 months or more. I played all of them solo queue and probably half of them on Calico. I'm not sure why, but Calico is a character I am markedly better with than the rest of the roster. Night and day type of stuff. The difference in game quality at Emissary, where I play with Calico, as compared to Arcanist, which is where I am when I'm queued with a couple of my buddies or I'm playing a new character with them, it is absurd. There's always someone like me, or even better, who's completely annihilating the enemy team, someone who it's literally their first game. Like, can we get a simple check that if it is your first 5 games, you are automatically in Initiate 1? And the games have just gotten so toxic. And then you compare that to Emissary, a truly, tiny difference on the ranking board. It's basically the same quality that we had before the patch, which still wasn't great, but didn't completely produce these entire lobby mismatches that we have 3 out of the 4 games now below Ritualist. Then our final comment comes from Brooklyn Gray, who said, in my opinion, Veilwalker is filling the role Fortitude used to, where it enables you to roam without having to go back to base. It's really good right now. I've gotten some crazy Dynamo ults with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed again. Probably a cooldown reduction or another price increase. And I could not agree with you more, Brooklyn. I think this is just such an awesome item that plays so well into Deadlock's unique style. My favorite part about it is that it's an actual alternative to Fortitude, like you said, which I think is great for the game overall, that there are alternatives to, like, those core items that you see bought so frequently. And I think a cooldown nerf is the way to go with it. They've really struggled with finding the right balance with this item, and I think being a tier 3 is great. A tier 4, in my opinion, it makes it a little bit useless because you want to have it somewhat early to make use of as much of that movement speed boost as possible. But yeah, I think a nerf is probably days away. That's all I got for you this time, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all the members. You guys' support really means the world to me. And yeah, if you did enjoy the video, guys, please be sure to leave a like. And yeah, if the past trend is anything to go off of, we should hit 5,000 subscribers on this video, which, I mean, that's insane. when I started, I really thought I would get to 200. I really thought I would get to 500. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what would come after that. So, thank you. Yeah, making little 12-year-old Will's dream come true a little bit more every day. So, thank you guys. Peace.